Good evening, everybody. My name is Ken Peplowski, and I'm a clarinetist, saxophonist. You may have seen me on the jazz cruise, different places. But one of my mentors, one of my champions is here today that I'll be speaking with. He's a gentleman that his life story alone could cover hours. It's just a fascinating story, and you can read about it. He's written a few books about his life, and it's an amazing story. And I'll ask him a little bit about that too. But his musical career in itself covers Latin music, jazz music, Caribbean music, you name it. He's the director of the Uruguay Jazz Festival. He's won so many awards, presidential awards. He's won maybe possibly more Grammys than Madonna for both Latin and jazz categories. He's and deserves every accolade he's ever gotten. He's just a master musician. And we're going to talk to him for a little bit right now. And let's welcome my friend, Mr. Paquito D'Rivera.
Pepe, so wonderful to see you. Long time no see, man.
I know. It's been a while.
I remember you every day of my life because look what I have in the back. You remember that occasion?
That was such a great jazz festival. The Detroit Jazz Festival.
Yes.
You, me, Anat Cohen, and Eddie Daniels.
Eddie Daniels, and they have this writer. Remember that this writer who inherited a whole collection of Benny Goodman suits. They were going to throw it away when Benny died, and I think he lived in the same building. I said, "What are you doing with that?" No, we are not using anymore. Benny died. And, no, I want them, like 20 suits, and they put it on top of the stage. That's was
right. That's right. And then we played in Gordon Goodwin wrote original arrangements based on the changes of famous Benny Goodman songs for us.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great festival. Really fun.
Wonderful big band they put together. A big band from San Francisco, I believe, or something.
Yeah, it was Gordon Goodwin's band. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we all did our own sets throughout the weekend. It was such a wonderful festival.
I remember that I went to visit you. You were playing in a tent.
Well, I think I told you the story before we went on camera, but I bet Matt Wilson, because we played outdoors with my quartet, and it was 100 degrees. And I bet Matt Wilson $100 who could keep their jacket on the longest. And I lasted about 5 minutes, and it was done. Forget it.
Yeah. What a fantastic festival. I think one of the best festivals ever.
Yeah, me too. And what a great idea, I wish more people would do that, because we don't get a chance to play together that often, on the jazz cruise sometimes, but it's so much fun to put the clarinetists together like that.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe we have a chance next year when we go on the cruise.
That's right. We're going to be on the cruise together next year, and I hope everybody's going to sign up and join us. There's going to be a lot of fun. I think Anat Cohen might be on there too. So.
No kidding. Anat is coming too?
I think so. I could be wrong, but
really good. You know what we do? If we don't have the chance to play together, at least we can swim together in the Caribbean.
This is very true. Except one thing, I can't swim.
I will sue for you.
Okay, I'll swim on. I'll hold on to you. Also, I'm glad we agreed to wear the same colors. That was,
you see that? Yeah.
Every clarinetist. So I'm gonna ask you some questions, and I'm gonna jump all over the place if that's okay with you. I just want.
No, it's about jazz, right?
About jazz and anything you want to talk about, really. But what you started at a really early age, didn't you, as a musician?
Very early. My father was a classical saxophone player, classical tenor. That's him, Tito.
Mm.
And he was also the representative in Havana of the Selmer Company. He had a very tiny office, even smaller than this office here, very small. But his hobby was to import instruments and all that. So he ordered for me when I was like 5 years old, a chord soprano.
Oh,
Very few of them in the market. A chord soprano. And he told me how to play it. And still today, I'm trying to learn how to play that thing.
It's a hard instrument. Yeah.
So all my life I've been a musician. I will be eternally thankful to my father. That's the soprano, you see.
Oh, look at that! Wow.
That is a Selmer. The other one that I have seen like that, I think it's called Paul Cohen. Have one like that.
So how old were you in that picture, do you think?
Well, in this one I was like probably 8 years old. It was in the Dominican Republic.
Okay. And
in the days of Trujillo was the dictator there. So everybody had to be very quiet,
Yeah.
because the guy was terrible. But they have very good musicians in the Dominican Republic. Not in those days, but Michel Camilo, Mario Rivera.
Yeah.
And all those. It's a country of great musicians.
And let me ask you, because a lot of people might not know about this. Like, was it easy to find jazz records and listen to jazz music back then?
Well, in those days, that was BC, before Castro. It was the problem. So still in these days, they have. My father used to play. I remember like today, back to back. Benny Goodman playing that concert in Carnegie Hall. Remember with Ziggy Elman and Harry James and Lionel Hampton and wonderful Lady Wilson. He used to play that back to back with Benny playing the Mozart concerto. Because my father was a classical player, so it was very confusing, but was a very happy confusion.
Yes.
For me, it was not different. It was just music.
That's right, and still is for you.
Still is for me. I enjoy Stravinsky as much as I enjoy Ellington, for example, or as much as I enjoy your current playing too.
Well, thank you. But did you? Did a lot of musicians come and play there too, and travel there at that time, as you say, before BC?
Yeah. I remember in those days I saw in 1960, Nat King Cole. I used to live 10 blocks from Tropicana, the wonderful club, and they hired Nat King Cole to play in the show. And I saw him. I was not allowed to be in the club, so my father used to see me in the. Next to the baritone in the orchestra. The orchestra was far away from the stage.
Yeah.
So I saw him, and I knew in those days they have Eddie Shue came to Havana.
Wow.
Eddie Shue, who played trumpet and tenor and everything.
Yeah.
Stan Getz, Sue Sims was there also. Many people used to go there. Philly Joe Jones.
Wow.
Was also. What was that? They have what they call the Club Cubano de Jazz. The Cuban Jazz Club.
Yeah.
Oh, there was many good players. Chucho's father, Bebo Valdez, used to play his jazz trio.
Wow.
That was a great music movement, and especially jazz movement.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. So, and did you have a lot of big bands going on too at the same time?
This is an interesting question. A few things that are typically very American have been adapted to the Cuban culture. One was the baseball. And in some moment of our history, Cuba was champion of the world, in the amateur. And many players, many Cuban players play here in big leaguers, like Minnie Miñoso and all those great players.
Yeah.
The same thing with the big bands.
Mm.
The big band is something. Well, now it's different because it's the shortage of everything. No time for. Every time I want to have some fun and lose some money, I put together a big band.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But in those days, people, for example, like Benny Moré was a great Cuban singer. He organized a big band and traveled with a big band. He called his band My Tribe.
Ah, that's funny.
So the big band was part of our culture. Was
And
part of the sound.
were they playing jazz music and Cuban music together?
Both.
Mixing it?
Both. In those days, they call it foxtrots.
Yeah.
And they play
Right.
that type of low-fi jazz,
Yeah. But was there like back then? Was there any kind of people trying to fuse the two musics together yet, or did that happen? Do you think a little later?
That was a fusion already.
Mm.
That was a fusion already. For example, our national singer, well, the female singer was Celia Cruz, but Benny Moré, his real name was Bartolo. And when he changed his name, because Bartolo sounds very funny in Mexico. Bartolo in Mexico is a donkey. So they said, Benny, you have to change that name. You're not going to be Donkey Moré. That don't sound good. So he chose the name Benny because of Benny Goodman. And he put together a big band.
I see.
So the cross-pollination between Cuban music and American music was happening all the time.
New Orleans.
I remember that it was Jerry Roll Morton who first talked about the Hispanic tinge.
That's right. Yeah. Very early on.
In American music.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Yes. He mentioned that he called it the Spanish tinge. He was talking about Cuban music.
That's
and
right.
One of the first influence on Louis Armstrong trumpet playing was Manuel Perez, a Cuban trumpet player who used to live in New Orleans. So it was a lot of interchange, cultural exchange between New Orleans and Havana in the beginning of the 20th century. So we always have been in touch for some reason,
Yeah, and would back in those early years of yours, was your father your main teacher?
Yes.
Yeah.
My father was my first teacher, a saxophone teacher. But as I said before, he was a classical player. But he loved the sound of Lester Young and Stan Getz. And I don't blame him for that.
Yeah, who doesn't? Yeah.
Well, it's like even Coltrane say, who don't want to play like Stan Getz? That beautiful sound. So he saw my love, my interest in improvised music, and then he took me to some of his friends who led me to first of all, he told me, you have to learn about the intervals and also about chord changing and all that. I said, chord what? You change the chords? Said, yeah, of course. So there was a guy called Paulo Cano, a guitarist, who taught me how to read the chord symbols. And another friend was a trombone. He's still around. He's 101 years old. Pucho Escalante.
Wow. Does he still play?
Yeah, once in a while he played at home and all that. Yeah. At least he played cards. So I learned how to improvise. So sometimes they ask me, I want to study jazz. What should I do? I say, what you have to do is to transcribe this. At least that's the way I learn.
Yeah.
Transcribing the solo for the great players.
Yeah. I guess everybody just about.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you did it? How did you learn how to do this stuff?
Yeah, same kind of the same thing. I would listen to players that you like, and then you transcribe things. I used to take specific licks that I liked and write them out and try to learn them and figure out how can I put this into a song.
Yeah. With me, it was funny because I didn't play the clarinet in those days. I was still playing my little soprano, but my first influence was Benny Goodman. And then I transcribed on my soprano all those solos. You remember this one? I used to transcribe all of that.
Yeah.
I used to, with the soprano.
Wow.
I'm not only the Benny solo, but Tus Mondelo. Remember Tus Mondelo?
Of course. I met him. I got to work with him a couple times.
No kidding. You worked with Tus Mondelo?
Yeah. Beautiful. And he came out of retirement to do a concert shortly after I moved to New York and still had that beautiful sound. That
wonderful round sound that Tus Mondelo had, man. That solo that he played in Let's Dance is memorable.
Yeah, that's something. I told you I was going to jump around a little bit, but that you just reminded me.
No?
Yeah, right. But you reminded me of something because I'm not just paying you an empty compliment. I mean it. You've got a beautiful and distinctive alto sound. In addition to the clarinet, of course, but a lot of players, and this is choose to have a sound. I like to call it almost like, and this is taking nothing away from him, but it's like the post David Sanborn sound, like a thinner, bright, very bright sound. And you have a very round, kind of darker, deep sound that's so nice, refreshing, because it's almost a lost art. People choose not to do that anymore. And like I teach some, and when I hear a student play like that, I say, please stay with that sound, because you're going to be different from everybody else.
Yeah. You know what happened? That type of sound is very apropos for certain type of music, and nobody do that like David Sanborn. He found his space to do that, and he keep playing that. But the problem with that sound, if you try to imitate it, is that then you cannot play nothing else than that.
Right.
You cannot say like, which is so hip in rock and roll or in how you call that, fusion, jazz and all that, in another type of music. You cannot use it. Of
like
course,
big band music.
David had no intention to play all the type of music. He don't
right.
want to play the concertino de cámara or anything like that.
Yeah, and he invented it, and it's his sound. And you can't fault him for that. It's beautiful. But why? I always think to myself, why choose one thing only? If you're
that is very limited. It's for certain thing.
Yeah.
For certain things that he do wonderfully, and so far I haven't seen nobody doing that like him.
No. Oh no.
He's very natural. I think instead of an alto, he should play a guitar.
Yeah.
Because he sounds like a rock and roll guitar. And I think he mentioned one that he was inspired by rock and roll guitarists.
Really?
But
if I was an alto player, I would think to myself, he's so unique and he's got such a different sound. I don't want to imitate him. Let me go in a different direction. But hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of saxophone players now, that's their kind of sound choice, post that thing,
It's too specific. When you play that type of sound, that is what you can play. You cannot play a ballad or other type of thing, or a pianissimo, because it's not going to work.
Yeah, and again, we're not putting him down. I mean,
not at all. I love him.
Yeah, me too. And he's a genius at what he does, and he created something that nobody else had before.
Yeah.
But
It's amazing how personal he is when he plays that. I think he used a very big mouthpiece with a very soft reed or something, no?
Yeah, and in a way, Mike Brecker, another genius, created a sound and style that everybody else plays like now.
Yeah.
Like there's so many choices out there. Why confine yourself to one thing?
But Michael Brecker is another $5 bill.
Yeah.
Now we are talking about something very heavy,
Yeah.
He, such a player, and he plays also that Iwi that he plays so marvelous.
Yeah.
But Michael Brecker is an example of how you, coming from somebody else, can create your own thing.
Yeah.
Because he obviously comes out of John Coltrane. He cannot deny that.
Yeah.
But he played two notes, and you say, one note, and see, that's Michael Brecker.
Yeah.
And that happened with other people too. Another person that I mention all the time that creates his own sound without even having an intention to do it is Claudio Roditi. Claudio Roditi, you can hear, come directly from Lee Morgan. Directly from Lee Morgan. But for some reason, he mixed it. Claudio. He mixed it with the Brazilian, his Brazilian roots. And he sound one note, that's Claudio. Even when he plays swing or anything. It's not only when he plays samba.
Yeah.
Playing swing, he got that thing,
Yeah. How long did you know him? When did you first meet him?
In 1981, I played my first gig in New York as a band leader in a place called Soundscape. You remember that place?
Yes, I do. Yes. Yeah.
It was a loft. You go like the loft, one of a big space with the piano, and the owner was a wonderful lady called Verna Gillis.
Yeah.
She's still around, and she gave me my first gig there.
Wow.
And that was 52nd and 10th Avenue. There was a three or four story building. And then in the top floor, there was a Brazilian guy who owns a loft there called Gaudencio Diago de Melo, Brazilian football player and football coach, guitarist and composer. And he came to me and he said, I know you like jazz, Brazilian music. I say, yeah, I love Brazilian music. I say, and I also know that you are looking for somebody to play next to you. I say, yes, I am sick and tired to play everything by myself. It's so hard. I need somebody to help me. So the person that you need is trumpeter and trombone, valve trombone, Claudio Roditi. Say, what the hell is that? He's a Brazilian trumpet player who plays the valve trombone, and I love that instrument, the valve trombone.
Yeah.
So next day I invite him and we play together, and that was it for me with Claudio. What is funny is that after one LP that we were together that I love is trombone sound. I wanted to record another LP with CBS and say, Claudio, tomorrow 10 o'clock in the 52nd Street studio with the flugelhorn and the valve trombone. He say, I sold the valve trombone. Tell me you sold the valve trombone. I hire you to play the valve trombone there. Man, it's too much. Screw up my chops. I cannot play. Oh, man, don't do that. But I fall in love already with his playing. Even he played the kazoo.
Yeah.
Claudio plays. So, did you have the chance to play with him?
Yes, I did. Actually, quite a few times. And so lyrical and inventive and beautiful sound and such a sweet guy. Yeah.
Everything was perfect with Claudio. You know what is amazing of him is that I played with him in big bands a few times, and then when trumpet player played the solo, the high notes and all that, a lot of energy and all that. Nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
But, and then when Claudio had to play his solo, he do like. Everybody do like. And
Yes.
stole the show. He steal everybody's show. Playing pianissimo. How you play that?
That's great.
Because that charisma, you know.
Yes.
It's unique.
Sweets Edison used to be able to do that to everyone too.
Sweet Edison too.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
That's why they call him Sweet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, somebody would play a zillion notes and then he'd follow with 3 and have the whole room. You know. Yeah.
Incredible. Some people have that.
Yeah.
I saw Cesar Camargo, the Brazilian pianist, doing that with the duet with Romero Lubambo. The Brazilian,
Oh yeah.
Probably you play with him too, right?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
They have a Brazilian show, you know, a lot of energy, all that Brazilian stuff, and then they announced them in Carnegie Hall, just duet. They played 2-3 notes. They stole the entire show. So some people have that magical touch.
Yeah.
To play 2 or 3 soft notes and steal your show. You have to be very careful with those people. Very dangerous. You're trying to play your ass off and they do like beep.
I know you can't win. No. No, it's impossible. Yeah. Oh.
Oh yeah, baby, we have to create something to play together in that cruise.
We do. Actually, that's a good goal. We certainly have enough time to work on it.
And if Anat is there, I will make sure that she's there.
Yeah, I'm not positive about that. So I'd have to double check, but I thought she was, but I could be wrong.
And we have something ready that is not very difficult to play.
Yeah.
So we have here.
Yeah. I did a fun set with her last year on the cruise, but we got to do something together. We'll come up with something. We'll talk about that.
We played together that day, and I feel like I want to do more. So we got something. We got something.
Yeah.
Some moment when we have in my set, in your set, and you know, what is it, in the cafeteria, in the bathroom,
in our rooms, swimming. You know,
so swimming in the Caribbean. How to be a calypso.
That's right. Yeah, I might need to use it to row back to the shore, but
because you don't swim.
But it's such a it's like a little club, right? Clarinetists, because there's so few of us. You know, we there's a bond amongst clarinetists. I think it's a certain pride about playing that instrument.
Oh yes,
because it's difficult. It's unforgiving, right?
And unapologetical too.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Very few of us, but you know that more and more kids are playing the clarinet.
Yes, there's a lot of young ones coming up. Yeah.
Finally, it's happening. Yeah, that kid, I think he moved back to Sweden. Was it Pakley? He's very good. Felix Pakley, you know him?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He's very good. There is a Dominican guy, very young, in Berkeley School, very good too. Juanito Ruiz is also a clarinet player from Colombia, which is my assistant, and he plays so good. There is a few of us, a little more than used to be.
Yeah, I just judged a clarinet competition, and I apologize that I can't remember her name now, but there was a female clarinetist from Canada who just blew me away, just fantastic, and she played almost like I could call it like a post-Coltrane kind of approach to clarinet, and a beautiful sound, and it sounded like herself, and it was so different. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about her. I saw her in the internet at some moment.
Yeah, I think she's from. Yeah, it's really nice.
Toronto or something. It's something like that. What's about time, man?
Yeah.
They demonized us for so long. I don't blame them, but you know, I will never forget every time I used to go to the stage with John Faris. Every time.
Oh.
You know, you go, ladies and gentlemen, Paquito D'Rivera. Then Fadi was already in the stage in the blue note and playing like that. I go with my clarinet, and he looked at me and said, "Where is your alto?"
Of course.
What do you mean, where is your alto, man?
Yeah, of course. That sounds like it. You know what? You know what he used to do to me? We did a tour together, and he took the monitors, so only he'd have a backstage microphone, and have the monitor so only I could hear, and he'd be trying to make me laugh while I'm playing my solo. So how he loves to play high notes.
Yeah.
I bought some balloons. And went backstage, took the microphone, and was squeaking the balloons during his solo. So I got even with him. Yeah. But
what is your alto? Is that he came very natural to him and said, "What is the saxophone? It's okay. That's clarinet's okay, but what is your real instrument?"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they always say that. Yeah.
But you know something? One of the person who was responsible for me to play the clarinet again was Dizzy.
Is that right?
Dizzy and Mario Bausa. But I remember like today, Dizzy came to me and said, "Mario told me that you play clarinet very well." I said, "Well, I don't know you very well, but I used to play the clarinet." I stopped playing the clarinet for many years because I didn't have the space to play. Irakere was a kind of rock-oriented band, volume-wise, talking about volume. And then the clarinet, it was no way to put the clarinet in there. So I have a soprano and I have to. But Dizzy told me, "Mario told me that you play the clarinet." I said, "Yeah, I used to play." I said, "Why you don't play it again?" I said, "Well, I don't have a clarinet." And he said, "Mario told me that he got one at home and he don't play anymore."
Wow.
And then, let's call Mario. And then they called Mario, and Mario gave me his clarinet. A very nice Selmer Center tone.
Wow, that's interesting. Do you still have it?
No, I gave it back to Mario because so somebody sent me my clarinet from Havana. Because probably I played the 7 rings, what they call the full band.
Yeah,
I cannot play without all those keys and all that. I cannot play without that. I remember that I told Buddy DeFranco, I said, "Hey buddy, there is certain things like this that you cannot play with that clarinet of yours." I said, "Oh, okay, then I play something else." Why do I have to play that? For me, what I learned with those full band, so I cannot get used to play these. Yeah.
But you first started clarinet when you were pretty young, and then just stopped for?
I was like maybe 11 years old. Yeah, maybe 10, 11. When I came back from the Dominican Republic, probably 9, 10, I start with the plateau clarinet. You know what is that?
No, what is that?
A cover hole clarinet.
Oh, right. Yes.
Plateau.
Yeah.
And because my fingers were very skinny, very, very thin. So my father ordered to the same company a plateau clarinet that I played for the whole year. 1 year until I have enough black beans and rice, and I gave some pounds, and I have normal fingers.
Yeah.
But always a full band. I really will never understand why they never accepted that instrument, because it's a great instrument. I know that Benny and Ali show, they play for a very little while. You know that?
I heard that. Yeah.
The articulated G.
Right.
It's so comfortable. You don't have to.
Right.
And Bonnie Frank will say, "Okay, I play something else."
Yeah, right. Well, knowing him, he figured it out anyway somehow.
Yeah.
That guy practiced so much. But Benny even experimented I know this is getting technical with people, but Benny experimented for a while with a double lip embouchure too, which didn't. I think that didn't really work for him. You know,
no, I don't see any reason in torturing yourself.
Yeah, right.
With one itchy note, two of them.
Yeah,
They say that the sound is more beautiful and all that, but I don't believe that.
yeah, I know.
It's too much of a hassle. You don't play that, right? You don't play double deep, no?
Oh no, I don't. No, and I also think playing jazz. I think it probably wear your chops out a lot faster than just doing it the normal way. Like we do. So
I know some jazz players who play doubly, very few of them.
yeah.
But if you get used to that, probably you can adapt yourself. But it's too much. I try like maybe 2 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
very
It's weird. It's odd. It feels weird. Yeah. Yeah.
Even the Italian clarinet player from the beginning of the 20th century, maybe the 20th and 30th, they play with the reed upwards.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
So the clarinet is like this.
Yeah.
Very abrupt, and they sound beautiful. That Italian sound, the very liquid, classical sound.
Yeah. So
but I learned like that, and that's it.
Yeah, whatever works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you something. During this pandemic, when do you find yourself? Are you motivated to practice? Do you play every day, or how does that work for you?
My instruments are always out of the case all the time. I have been a very bad practicer, you call it? Practitioner, or whatever, I don't know how you call that in Spanish. Even when I was a kid, I was terrible for practicing. Very bad. Yeah. So this pandemic is hitting me heavy, heavily. Yeah. Because I don't play. I don't know what's going to happen when I go out. Suffering because the endurance.
Yes.
Is the first thing that is affected.
Yeah. Have you done some gigs since March? No. Or no.
I have been writing music at home and doing that Wednesday 4 o'clock show in Facebook. I invite you to be the next one. You want to know that?
I'd love it. I would. I have to tell you something. You've made me so happy to hear about the practicing, because I tell the students this all the time, and it makes them happy, because I try to be honest with everybody. I hate practicing. I've never enjoyed it. There's nothing I like about it at all. I have to make myself practice, and it always helps and it always works. But I have to force myself to practice, and it's hard to do when in times like this when there's nothing to play. But I've had a couple things a month, like little gigs where I've flown out and done something, or a streaming thing I did, once a week. But I got to tell you, it's like even practicing, it's so different from actually playing that you feel it in your chops. You play one set and you're fatigued. It's just a different way of playing when you're playing live,
Well, it's totally different. It's like boxing with your pushing back.
Yeah, exactly.
Your punching back is one thing, and Teófilo Stevenson is something else.
Yeah, true.
When you have Muhammad Ali in front of you, they're punching your little pair at home. Yeah. So there is people that have that desire to practice, like Eddie Daniel, for example. He's a maniac.
And Buddy DeFranco.
No, he too? I didn't know that.
Oh my God, all the time. Yeah.
Well, that's why they play like that.
Yeah.
Buddy and Eddie, they are disgusting. They have that facility to play the instrument, but they practice all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I never. My father used to play his tenor saxophone 26 hours a day.
Wow. Mm,
I never saw the tenor in the case. You
mm,
know, the
yeah,
tenor was totally worn out, and the case was like new.
yeah,
But I don't have that, so it's hard. It's been hard for me, very
yeah, yeah.
hard.
Sure.
So
Especially now.
I can't wait to go out and play
Yeah.
if I can. Well, don't tell this to the cruise people. Maybe
That's
they
right.
cancel
Yeah.
the contract or something.
Oh no, they never. But, but let's face it, it's hard to be motivated if there's nothing on the other end. You know, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it's.
but always I repeat, my instrument is always reachable.
Yeah,
It's around there, and I come and I pick it up and play something and all that.
yeah. Do you practice much classical music?
Whatever I have to play, as I say before, I never had a distinction. Of course, when you play one type of music or another type of music, you always have to do some adjustments.
Yeah.
But yes, I can practice a classical piece or something with Jamie Iverson or anything.
Hmm.
Anything. It
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah. And when do you think you prefer playing one instrument over the other, or is it just a different texture depending how you feel?
But my main instrument is the clarinet now.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's a harder instrument to play.
Right.
The saxophone is more logical, make a lot more sense. You know that.
Yeah.
You need the saxophone there. Oh, I have to play the saxophone tomorrow. If you have been playing the clarinet, you pick up the saxophone and he will say, "You welcome. Where have you
Yes.
been?" Huh? The clarinet will say, "Where the hell have you been? MF?"
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Well, there's a certain pride. That's why I think it's like a little club. There's a certain pride in being a clarinetist because
Oh yes,
it's a hard instrument.
We are very proud, and we are very proud of the company too.
Yes.
It's not easy to get in this club,
That's
because
right.
we are very picky, very few of us around.
That's
And
right.
we are very proud to be just a little group of masochist people around.
Yeah.
You, me, Eddie, Daniels, and Anat, and
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But it's growing. Like you said, there's young guys, young players, young men and women coming up, so it's getting better.
You know what happened? The saxophone, the soprano, you can pick it up and make it sound like a Shanae, and you can be very hip.
Mhm.
Oh man, that's happening, that swing and shit. You do that with the clarinet. The clarinet don't sound hip if you don't play correctly.
That's right. You sound like a snake. You sound like a snake charmer.
Like a what?
Like a snake charmer.
So this instrument you play, and you can see it even by the way they open the case.
Mm.
In the big band, especially, you have clarinet to doubling with the clarinet.
Yeah.
Even you see when can I play this with soprano? No. It said clarinet, no soprano. No, it's in B flat. Oh yeah, the tuba is in B flat too.
Yeah.
No, it's for clarinet. So how they open the case? Yeah, you say, play with the soprano. Yes, it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because they don't have any love with the instrument, and I don't blame them. It's a very complicated. I don't think technically it's so complicated. The problem is to make it sound right.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Yeah, and it is an unforgiving instrument. It lets you know if you haven't played it in a while.
Exactly. Not the saxophone.
Right.
The saxophone, you can play some, and it's okay. No, when it with the clarinet.
Yeah.
No, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
You know that Phil Woods used to say, I say, hey, Phil, where is your clarinet? The opposite of what John Faddy said. Hey, Phil, where is your clarinet? And he said, my clarinet is a lamp. He said, I don't play that anymore. I said, why? He said, that shit squeak in the case.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can do that.
And I loved his clarinet playing too. He was great.
He plays so good, the clarinet.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah. But
He was
please.
he was a great guy to hang around.
Oh my God.
Great
Yeah.
guy to hang around.
Yeah.
He was a kind of bitter sense of humor that was fantastic.
Well, he was 100% honest all the time. Yeah.
Maybe that was too honest.
Yeah, too honest. But he was funny. He could be funny, you know.
Very funny, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, you mentioned something before about you were talking about you were playing more soprano when you were playing in the band Irakere because it was a loud band, and I actually have a theory about this that maybe I see if you agree with me or not, but I think the clarinet went out of fashion for a while because as jazz went more electric, it doesn't cut above. It's not that kind of an instrument. It can't cut above electric. Now there's a more movement towards acoustic music again, and it's easier to hear it and mic it and all that.
That is one of the reasons. That is just one of the reasons. But there is another reason. Charlie Parker, when many clarinet players, Lou Donaldson told me that. When they discovered the alto, they didn't play the clarinet anymore. Before that, Tus Mondelo and other players was an exception because the real soloist was the clarinet.
Right. Yeah.
Jimmy Noon and Benny and Randy Shaw, Jimmy Hamilton, and all that.
Yeah.
The saxophone was less than a soloist in those days. Was more the clarinet player. And Charlie Parker opened, the scene for the alto saxophone. Thank you. For the alto saxophone. And then nobody wanted to. Charlie Parker didn't play the clarinet anymore, I think.
I don't think so either. No,
I don't think so. Maybe he used to play the
well, Paquito, there's recordings. You can find these on YouTube of him playing along with Benny Goodman records. There's a recording of him playing along with Benny Goodman's China Boy, and
playing the alto, no?
Yes, he's playing solos over the recording. Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
One of his favorite players was Jimmy Dorsey. Jimmy Dorsey was my friend. But the other factor was when John Coltrane brought back the soprano. When Coltrane started playing the soprano, so the people say, no clarinet. No, it's tenor and soprano. Why tenor and clarinet? Or alto and clarinet? Right. So I think that was the definite hit to the clarinet. Boom! That was it. No more clarinet playing. Just Walter Franco and later you. Nobody else was playing. Maybe Kenny Laverne a little bit.
Yeah, but a clarinet cannot compete against the soprano. There's no way. The volume alone.
And the other problem was the volume that you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's hard to. It's not this. The volume and also the affinity between with the clarinet and the trumpet, for example.
Right.
The alto is perfect for that. The alto or the tenor.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, we are back. So
we're back. We are back. Hey, let me ask you a question because, I play tenor and clarinet, and I pick certain songs for certain instruments. When you're choosing what to play, do you hear, like, let's say you hear a song and you think that's a clarinet song or that's an alto song? Is that the way you think?
Yeah. There is a certain composition that, it fits both instruments. Yeah. But there is other pieces that naturally they go to one of my two instruments, the alto or clarinet. You played clarinet first before you played the saxophone?
Yes, I did. Yeah. And the
Most
only
people do that.
yeah, I think that was pretty common, and like it. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and the school district, you had to play saxophone to be able to play in the jazz band, and so so I took up the tenor saxophone, and then that was it. Then I was playing both instruments from there.
But
Yeah.
probably you learned to play the saxophone by yourself, right?
Pretty much. Yes, you're absolutely right. Actually, yeah.
As I said before, the instrument makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
There is no such a thing as an easy instrument. That doesn't exist. Even the kazoo is different to play.
Yeah.
In a nice way, but makes a lot more sense. The saxophone had the same fingering in both octaves, more or less.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And you know that there's something interesting here. When I switched from the soprano to the alto, I was very frustrated because of the range. I know that. And I always have my ears in B flat, even today. So I learned to play the alto when I transcribe the solos of Charlie Parker or any solo.
Yeah.
I play the alto with the fingering over clarinet. Sol, la, si, do, re, mi, fa, sol.
Yeah.
Si, do, D is G for me.
Wow, that's interesting.
I can read in E flat, but always I hear in B flat.
Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah.
Everybody's different. And Dizzy Gillespie, for example, he asked me once I wrote a piece that he had to play, and I wrote for B flat trumpet.
Yeah.
And then the chord symbols in B flat, and this is why did you write this? Why did you write this chords in B flat? Dizzy, you play a trumpet in B flat, remember? Yeah, but I don't play chords. The piano plays the chords.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to play the piano? He said, no. I heard the chords in C.
Wow.
That's strange. He heard the all the time the harmony. He heard in C, and then he plays in B flat with the trumpet.
Actually, I always learn songs in C. I learn like if I'm learning a standard or an old piece from a sheet music, I transpose from a C part. I always do that.
Oh, are you a pianist too? You play the piano?
So badly, you would never want to hear it ever. Really bad. No, but for some reason, we had a piano when I was a kid, and I learned to play, pretty bad piano. But for whatever reason, I always read from C parts, and I thought it helps. It just helped. It kicked in some extra adrenaline or something when I played, to make me have to transpose all the time like that.
So if I give you a lead sheet in C, you play with the tenors with no problem.
Honestly, I could, yeah.
Wow, interesting that. It's like the trombonists who can read B flat parts very. They say that the trombone is in B flat. I would never understand that.
I'm still listening. My dog's bothering me.
He's not bothering nobody. He's trying to communicate.
All right. Okay, stop. Here, come here. All right. No, but yeah, I always learned that way for some reason. Out of
that is very good. That is very good because, for example, there is a piece that I will never would be able to play in a flute or in I have a clarinet in C also, and that piece is Donna Lee.
Oh,
I can't think about the notes in C with that piece.
Oh yeah.
I cannot even imagine them.
Oh
But I learned Donna Lee in B flat already,
yeah.
and that's the only. If somebody tried to play the piece in the Donna Lee in A, then no. I give
Yeah.
you your.
One time, Lee Konitz said to me, he said, if you play Donna Lee and start it and any other beat than where it's supposed to be, it sounds just like a Lenny Tristano song. You know, and you play it all the way through. And it does, but it's so hard to do.
Say that again.
In other words, if you play Donna Lee,
yeah,
and you put it on, let's see, right now it's 1 2 so if you go 1 if you put it on B2 and play the whole song that way, he said it sounds just like a Lenny Tristano song.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
like
yeah. But it's so hard. It's almost, I can't do it. I've tried. It's almost impossible for me.
But it makes sense. I can imagine those notes in a different place.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Hey, listen. Maybe that's our goal for the Jazz Cruise. The two of us are going to have to do that for we have a long time to work on it.
Yeah, but let's cash the check before we do that. Pay me. Can you pay me now, please? And then we do that.
That's right.
Not before.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to keep you too long but I want to ask you one question because this has always interested me. You were one of the founding members of the this United Nations Orchestra with Dizzy in 1988, was it? And you guys were, in a way, a pioneering fusion band of all kinds of Latin music, Caribbean jazz, Cuban, everything, right?
You know whose idea was that? In that show that I do every Wednesday, I pay tribute to the guy who created that orchestra together with Dizzy, Charlie Fishman. Did you ever work with him?
No, I know the name. I never got to work with him. No.
Charlie is a wonderful guy. He's a producer, and the idea came from Lalo Schifrin. Who was not part of the orchestra. He was a friend of Dizzy. And he said, Dizzy, you have been working in combining Cuban and Brazilian music with jazz, bebop, and all that. You should put together a band with all those guys from Cuba, Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, Brazil, and all that, and make a band. And then, you know that Dizzy was a Baha'i. He had this religion.
Yes.
The Baha'i. They have the concept that the world is just one country. In the different countries are just neighborhoods. That's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
And then they believe in something that they call it the United Nation. Not United Nations. The United Nation, just one nation. And that was the idea of Lalo Schifrin, the name. And then Charlie and Dizzy put together that band with people from Cuba, the Dominican Republic, Brazil, and all that. And the result is that band, the United Nations Orchestra. And that concept is what this music is supposed to be. This is a country of immigrants.
Yeah, right.
And if everyone have contributed something to this great creation called jazz music.
Yeah.
Unique in the world. We made the soundtrack of the world. Jazz musicians have done that.
Yeah.
Why? Because jazz and the derivative genre, rock and roll is a result of an evolution of jazz music. It's part of the blues and all that. So Dizzy Gillespie was a visionary in putting Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Fishman in putting together that band. And I am so proud to be part of
Yeah.
initiative.
Well, you still keep that tradition alive. You do. That's every time I hear you play, that's you in concert. You're still doing all that. You're putting together all these different kinds of music. You're also funny. You're entertaining. Not today, but most of the time.
That's my quintet.
All right. But you're entertaining, and you. This is something I love, and there's not a lot of people that understand this or can do it. You have fun, you're funny, and you take the music seriously.
Yes, you know, two of my favorite artists in my entire career was Igor Stravinsky, Mozart, and Dizzy Gillespie. And there is no more funny people than those, and so serious for the music. It's not a contradiction. Having fun and take it seriously. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Sense of humor is something very serious.
That's true. Yeah. That is true. We can use a little bit of that right now. And yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I need your crazy dog, huh?
That's my dog, Honey Pie. But
Honey Pie.
she's a lifesaver. I love this dog. But I'm gonna wrap things up by I love talking to you. You're an inspiration to listen to play with, to be with. Really, you're like a great philosopher of jazz on and off the bandstand, and may you continue to do this for many, many, many years to come. And now we're promising that we're going to play a weird version of Donna Lee for the Jazz Cruise. That's right. That's right.
Very good. And then we go and sleep together.
Yes. All right. I'll try it. I'll give it. Actually, I only get one chance.
Oh yeah, you already know. You know what?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Very good. Love you, baby.
I love you too. It's great talking to you, Paquito. Thanks, folks. Thanks for tuning in and sign up for the Jazz Cruise. It's going to happen, and it's going to be a wonderful cruise. And take a look at the lineup. It's an incredible lineup of people. So we thank you all for tuning in. Good night, folks. Stay safe.